This clip is going up on the channel on Friday, so make sure, as always, if you watch our shows, use hashtag Michigan down in the comments, or if you join the live show, you can send a super chat to get your question featured on the show. I think there's also this thing called Super Thanks. You see by there, you can do that. If you send a Super Thanks, we'll put it on one of our mailbags as well, although we've never really talked about it here in the history of the show. On Saturday night, Michigan Football Report is going to be live. Myself and young Harbaugh, Jack Latteray, for the Michigan Bowling Green night game. It starts at 7:30. It's on Big Ten Network. We're going to go live 30 minutes prior. I think a lot of people have enjoyed having us as their second screen while they watch the game. Or if you don't have Big Ten Network, we'll keep you up to date with play-by-play live chat. As the game turns into a blowout, we might do some silly things and have some wild times here around the office, all on camera for your, hopefully, entertainment and enjoyment. So subscribe, youtube.com/Michigan TV. Hit that subscribe button. Remind yourself, join us. Watch the game on your TV, pull us up on your phone every once in a while, get in the live chat, have us on your computer, or just put us on your big screen TV if you've got two of them, whatever you want. But we really enjoyed getting to know a lot of you guys and enjoying the game with you guys live the past 2 Saturdays. youtube.com/Michigan TV. All right, now we've got some Michigan football burning questions. We had a few pop up in the live chat that Jack highlighted. I said, oh, those are really great ones. So we've got a handful to get going, but you can still get on the show using hashtag Michigan. If you want to have your question, use hashtag Michigan or Super Chat. First question coming in, it says, James, have you heard the rumors that Michigan is planning to go for a portal quarterback in 2024 for this next season coming up? Interesting one. I speculated on it a little bit, but I'll address the rumor here in a moment. But if you guys wouldn't mind, if you want to help the show grow, there's a lot of ways you can do it, and it's always, I think, a benefit not a benefit. It's best when it comes from the audience. We can tell you to watch the show all you want, but if you guys spread the word, it certainly helps the show, and I think makes the shows more fun the more people who watch it, especially the live shows. If you can, take a screenshot of the show. If you're watching on your iPhone, your iPad, hell, if you know how to do that on your computer, and tweet it out. Tag me at James Yoder. Anyone who does this week between now and game time on Saturday tweets the picture of this show, or if you're on your computer, take a picture of your computer or your TV if you're watching the big screen. Tweet it out at James Yoder. I will retweet and I'll follow back if I don't already. Anyone who does that. So go ahead and help us out. We will feature you on Saturday's show live. So anybody who does that between now and Saturday, we'll take that tweet and give you attribution, try and drive you some followers on Twitter in addition to Jack and myself following you on Twitter. So back to the question from Scene in Ann Arbor. You heard the rumors about Michigan is going for a portal quarterback in 2024. I speculated on this in the offseason, right? And I think it's a reason why it was so important for Michigan to get a quarterback, Jayden Davis, for 2024, because they haven't got a high-level scholarship quarterback in the last 2 classes. And with the announcements and the speculation that Jim Harbaugh put out there this couple days ago about the quarterback rotation going forward, this is what we think the new quarterback depth chart looks like. Davis, Warren, Jack Tuttle, they do anything to lose the job? No. Could they eventually get back up in this top 3? Yes, I think they can. I really think this week and last week were about, hey, we know Tuttle has game reps. We know that Davis Warren has game reps last year. Let's get Denegal. Let's get Alex Orji, guys who actually could be starting quarterbacks in the future for Michigan, both in their second year game snaps. So I don't know if this will look like after this week. Probably really depends on how these guys do in real game time situation. But I have not heard that rumor in recent weeks, really ever since Jayden Davis, so probably about 5-6 months, got him as the quarterback. But Michigan actually should be, right? You can't go into a season coming off potentially 3 straight Big Ten championships, 3 straight wins over Ohio State, with losing as much as Michigan stands to lose if all the guys who can go pro do go pro, including J.J. McCarthy. You're going to be replacing 17 starters, 16 starters, 18 starters next year. If you can go out there and get a quarterback like Notre Dame did with Sam Hartman, like plenty of schools have done over the past few years, and he can be instantly eligible. We saw what it did for Michigan's passing game going from 2017, the worst passing offense that Jim Harbaugh's had by a mile, to 2018, which was a pretty good passing offense with Shea Patterson. I think that's what Michigan needs to bank on and at least have as an option if Jayden Davis isn't day one ready to be the starting quarterback, and if Jayden Denegal and Alex Orji, play to their 3-star rankings and don't kind of level up in this Michigan offensive system. Reminder, use hashtag Michigan to get your questions answered live here on the show. Before we continue on and more questions, I want to learn more about you guys. What year did you become a Michigan football fan? And then think, who was the quarterback the season you became a fan? At the first season I remember in my mind, I specifically remember the Heisman Trophy ceremony I was a wee boy. I'm not going to tell you my exact age. Watched it. My dad, maybe one or two of my sisters. Was 1991 Desmond Howard Heisman Trophy. So remember the Ohio State game. I remember the punt return for a touchdown. So Elvis Grbac was my answer to this question. So let me know who the quarterback was for Michigan, starting quarterback, the season you became a fan in the live chat. First one I saw there was Bill Graves with Jim Harbaugh. So he's talking about like 1984, 85, 86. Although Harbaugh was injured for most of the 84 season. Next question coming in from Yoder's burner account. We got Jack Lauderay, super chat in the show. Yoder's burner account. Someone's taken, I think, is that my Twitter profile picture? Kind of wild. Yoder's burner account here on YouTube. He says, so are we going to suck in 2024 or what? I'm glad you took this question, Jack, because I think it's piggybacking off the answer we had. So good pick there by Jack. Are we going to suck in 2024 or what? I will answer that question here in just one moment. But first, I want to kick it to myself to tell you about today's presenting sponsor. The Michigan Football Report is sponsored by AG1. I have AG1 literally every day. Get comprehensive and convenient daily nutrition at drinkag1.com/chatsports. Covering my nutritional basis for the day literally couldn't be easier, which is why I trust AG1. Once I've got my kids dressed and ready each morning, I make my AG1. I don't feel the need for caffeine anymore, and I feel energized throughout the day. Plus, AG1 empowers the gut for whole body health. I just mix one small scoop of AG1 with water and drink it each morning. Done. I also like that it costs less than $3 a day. Pretty good if you ask me. It's a really effective daily habit with the highest quality source ingredients. Win-win. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then AG1 is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/chatsports. That's drinkag1.com/chatsports. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Trust me on this. I'm very picky about what I put in my body, so I try to steer clear of chemicals and harsh ingredients, which is why I love AG1 and its 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients. Get started at drinkag1.com/chatsports. Thanks so much to Athletic Greens wardrobe change. I just switching shirts left and right. We pre-recorded that cut. No big deal. I've still got my jacket on, but I took it off. Wanted to mess with you guys. 3 different outfits in one show. By the way, shout out to, who do we have? Blue Wolverine in the live chat with a yo. Shout out to you, Blue Wolverine. Thank you so much for joining today's show. A long-time hard hat member. So Yoder's burner account, someone jumping in here and taking my action. He says, are we going to suck in 2024 or what? Let's ask the question. So go to this question first, Jack. Come back to the Yoder burner account. How concerned are you guys about Michigan football in 2024? And I know it's like, James, what are you talking about? Got this helmet in the shot. And Michigan's been good for 3 years. They're going to continue to be good as long as Jim Harbaugh's the coach. But will he be? Will he be the coach? I don't want to speculate here, but there's a lot of talk out there at the NFL. But Michigan is just losing so much after this season. It's an exodus like we haven't seen since maybe 2007 to 2008 when you had Chad Henne and Mike Hart and Jake Long and Mario Manningham and Adrian Arrington. That was just on the offense. I'm probably missing 2 or 3 offensive linemen that I forgot about there. I just don't remember their names. The defense, Sean Crable and whoever else on the defense. But they lost a ton after 2007. 2008 only brought back like 5 stars, 4 stars in defense, like 2 on offense. That's the level. Now, I think Michigan's got better backups. We're seeing guys like Keon Saab emerge. We're seeing, Harris, Keyshawn Harris, I think he's got another year right now if he continues to play at the high level. Will Johnson will be back. Mike Sainer still will be gone. Rod Moore, Makari, Paige could return, so that would be good. Junior Colson could come back, although he could go pro. Mike Barrett will be gone. Ernest Hausman. So you got some good things going on. Chris Jenkins will be going to the pros, but Mason Graham will return. Derek Moore. So you have some talent, but you will lose a ton. Michigan might only have 1 or 2 stars back on offense next year, probably 4 or so, 3, 4 stars, 5 maybe at the absolute most back on defense. So are you concerned? Scale of 1 to 10. My concern level, guys, it's a 7 for next year, and that's really on twofold. If Harbaugh is coming back and we knew that was a guarantee, I'd probably still be like a 4 or 5 just because of all the players and personnel losses you're going to have. Penn State will be returning a quarterback and both starting running backs to them. A ton coming back for Penn State next year. Ohio State likely returning their starting quarterback next year. They'll have a ton of talent. Where Michigan's kind of the opposite of that this year, right? This year, Michigan's the school. Really, of all the top 4 or 5 teams in the country in the preseason, Michigan's the only one that was returning their head coach, their offensive coordinator, their defensive coordinator, their starting quarterback, their starting running back. Michigan had it all. Next year won't be the case. We could also lose both coordinators, right? Jesse Minter could go get an NFL DC job. He might also look for a college head coaching job, although I doubt it. I think he takes the Mike McDonald route to go get an NFL DC job. Sharon Moore has been, rumored for head coaching jobs the past 2 seasons. This could be the year for him. Mike Hart could go take a MAC head coaching job. Jim Harbaugh could be gone, depending on what happens there with Harbaugh, those other guys, and all the replacements. So I'm concerned level 7 to 10 is just all the uncertainty, both coaching staff, head coach, and all the personnel that could depart this program after a national championship season in 2023. Super chatter, Dylan Carson saying, any news on Amorion Walker, but all Mays uniforms all day. So I like the Mays uniforms for that one time, 2017. And funny enough, I think in my life, the Mays #1 Mays Michigan football jersey is the first Michigan football jersey I ever bought. And I used to have a bunch of basketball jerseys. I had in the 90s, I had like a Juwan Howard, I had a Chris Webber, I had a Jalen Rose at some point. I think I even had a Trey Burke back in 2013. I lost it like after 6 months. Jim Printable in the house with a $25 super chat. Jim Printable will get to you in just one moment. Super chat palooza there from Jim Printable, $25. I have not heard a ton on Amorion Walker lately. Now, there's really twofold for that. One is his stature over the summer, coming out of spring practice into the fall, continued to kind of drop down the pecking order for Michigan in the depth chart. And number two is they just haven't had to use him. So if he's injured where he could come back after 1 game, 2 game, 3 games, it's at this point they're just going to keep him out until he's 100% because he is a guy over the last couple of years that has kind of shown the propensity to take a nagging injury and have it continue to nag and never really be fully healthy in a couple of seasons. So I don't think we're going to see him this week. We might, but it's nothing serious that's going to keep him out maybe past next week against Rutgers. He should be back for that first road game at the latest against Nebraska. Rick Harford, got you in the helmet, my man. Hard hat. We're giving away 3 of these on Saturday night during the watch party. Jack, remind me of that. I make a lot of claims during these shows. Sometimes I forget them, so we got to remind to do that. Yoder for the GM of the Michigan Wolverines football program. I take it. My salary demands might be higher than what they would pay. I think I'd have a cold tax living in Ann Arbor, but with the new generation of name, image, and likeness, I've got so many ideas that Michigan could be using right now to put themselves at the forefront of NIL. Hell, I think digital media is one of them. I mean, we put out the $100,000 offer out to Jayden Davis. He hasn't accepted yet. I know he's seen it for sure. All of his high school coaches and his quarterbacks coach and all these people followed me on Twitter right after we made that offer, but they haven't officially accepted it. So they might send us a $100,000 bill at some point, Jack, that we're not ready for. So Jayden, contact me at James Yoder on Twitter. But I would definitely be the GM if I could focus just on the transfer portal and NIL, this new wave of college football. I think that no one has an advantage in that regard at this point. Someone come from the outside with fresh ideas could be a possibility. Jim Printable in the house. Jim Printable. Jim, did you get your T-shirt? We sent you the Don T-shirt a couple weeks ago. Hopefully it arrived. I got the email that it did arrive, so hopefully it arrived in your hands. He said, Yoder, getting in the chat late. How are we looking for starters on D? I'm blind, Jack. Is that what that says? Getting late. How are we looking for starters on D? This week, we expect Will Johnson to play. We also expect Makari Paige to play. Now, I am not 100% certain that Makari Paige is going to replace Keon Saab. I'm not 100% sure that he's going to replace even Quentin Johnson in the starting lineup. Two games, Paige has played like 10 snaps or something like that. So he's going to play. But much like last year with R.J. Moten, I wonder if the emergence of Keon Saab this year is going to end up, when Rod Moore comes back, having Makari Paige being the odd man out. I would say after 2 games, if you looked at it objectively, you can make a real case that Keon Saab is the MVP of this Michigan football defense. I also think we're going to continue to see the emergence of Ernest Hausman at linebacker, maybe even in the starting lineup this week. You never know. Mike Barrett played a little bit better this past week. On the defensive line, you could really say that Michigan has 8 starters right now. 8 starters on that defensive line, 4 in the interior, 4 on the outside. The only guy who hasn't really made a huge impact out of those 8 starters on defense is Rayshon Trap Money Benny. He's been in there, but hasn't really made plays. They're like, oh, wow, this guy needs to be in the game more often. Derek Moore certainly has. Josiah Stewart, we've seen a ton of. Braden McGregor seemingly has been all over the place. Jalen Harrell was one of our, Jalen Harrell was one. I probably should have had him as a dog. He had himself a hell of a game. Junior Colston's having a nice season for Michigan. Jimmy Rolder's one that we don't expect to see this week in the secondary. So mostly either healthy or ready to play when they need him for this Michigan football defense. Super chat coming in from Jeremy Clore. He's on the helmet. Get Jeremy here in a second on the helmet, and we'll get him to that question, and he will be in the duck race here in a moment. Next question coming in from Sloppy T Go Blue. we've seen Sloppy T here on the show before. And by the way, thanks so much to Jim for the 25 spot. You are the man, Jim. Really appreciate everything you do for the show. Do you think that Donovan Edwards got a big head, and that's impacting his play this season? Hashtag Michigan. What do you think, Jack? He's got a big head? Is that the reason holding him back? He did make some claims. The Don made some claims in the offseason, right? He said in an interview, we did 2 interviews of note that kind of July and August that were turning a lot of people's heads. We're making the rival fans, mad about Donovan Edwards. Who does he think he is, right? He had one of the best 3-game stretches in the history of this program. So shout out to Donovan Edwards. And it wasn't against scrubs. It was against Ohio State. It was against Purdue. It was against TCU. So that was what Donovan Edwards ended last season with. And all the hype, guys like me making the Don shirts. My son spent $100 on his own website, like the T-shirts and the hat, all this different stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if he got a little bit of big hat. And did he not put in the work? I hate to make that claim. I don't have any inside info on that. But I think if we don't see something out of the Don this week, whether it's catching the ball, running the ball, I think there's got to be some questions that are answered out there, right? Because 3 games end of last year against really good competition, coming up on 3 games this year. The only difference is Blake Corum's in the game versus not in the game. Okay, I understand that. But it's going to be pretty telling if Donovan Edwards. So he in one interview said that he thinks going into the NFL with his ability to catch the ball and run the ball and do all these different things, he's like a NFL back, of the next generation. He's going to be one of the greats in NFL history potentially. Okay? Big time comment. Then he kind of said how good he was going to be in another interview and that he could be the best slot receiver in all of college football in a second interview in August. So he's definitely said some things. Hasn't been too productive so far this year. I am expecting the Don to break out, and hopefully that he didn't just kind of rest in his roles, which is, plenty of people do that. You have some success, you take a little break there, and then maybe other people pass you up. Hopefully that's not the case here with the Don in 2023, which will likely be his last season in Ann Arbor. But I'll ask you guys this question. Are you concerned about Donovan Edwards? Where is the Don so far this year? He's playing a bunch of snaps. The production has not been there. Give me a Y for yes or an N for a no. Jovan Stock Channel says, we need to relax and stop stressing about Don. Zach Jenkins says, Donovan Edwards never had the greatest vision. He just isn't seeing the field all that well. Bill Graves gives me an N. He is not concerned out there. Jim Printable says, no shirt yet. Jack, Jim Printable shirt. Check the tracking after the show. Jim will be in touch. I'll DM you on Twitter with your shirt. So give me a Y for yes, an N for no. Are you concerned with Donovan Edwards? Zach Jenkins, no as well. A-Train is no. Super chat coming in from Jeremy Clore in the building. Thank you so much, Jeremy. Couple wins doesn't wreck with you. Couple wins doesn't wreck you with an expanded playoffs in 2024. Great recruiting class, being good by midseason, and portal raid to stay strong. Okay, I kind of read that wrong a little bit. So I just kind of think he means couple losses, but I could be mistaken there with Jeremy with this $10 super chat. Yeah, I think he's saying that with $10 super chat. I'm going to get your sticker here in a second, Jeremy, once we're done with the segment. But, yes, that's right. 12-team playoff next year with the expansion of the Big Ten, USC and UCLA coming over. Expansion, and Oregon and Washington, right? We kind of forget about them. So you go to 18 teams next year. The SEC is adding Texas and Oklahoma. There's going to be no Pac-12. So you got 4 conferences now vying for these, maybe 1 team from a non-conference. So I really think if Michigan's in the top 4 in the Big Ten next year, they're in the college football playoff. If I were to guess right now, next season, I should save this where Yoder is right, where Yoder is wrong for this time next year. I would guess next year when you get the college football playoff, 12 teams, it's going to be 5 teams from the SEC, 4 teams from the Big Ten, 1 team from the ACC, 1 team from the Big 12, and then 1 group of 5, group of 6, whatever they're going to call it now, team if they let the highest ranked one in there. So I think your top 4 teams in the Big Ten, no divisions next year. You could potentially be 9-3, 10-2, make the college football playoff. So Michigan should have a decent year next year, but I think the floor could be as low as 7-5. I bet the ceiling is 10-2 next year for the regular season. 10-2 gets you the playoff for sure. 9-3, I think you'd be right there on the cusp of like one of those 10, 11, or 12 seeds. William Wagner, he says, I feel like Edwards may have a problem with the zone blocking scheme that Michigan is running more often this year. And I am not an offensive line guru by any means. So I've seen the tapes. I watched some of these people do film reviews on different Big Ten teams. And I've become a big watcher of Big Ten Network, in 60 to make sure I'm not missing any plays. Any guys do things. And Urban Meyer and Joel Klatt, they have different breakdowns. Michigan's running some different running schemes this year. Is that affecting the Don's vision? It could be, that could be it. I think we're going to find out more as we go along. Maybe even what's harming Blake Corum. Now, I think Corum is a guy who probably can fit into any system, right? He can hit the hole fast. He can dance around, cut back, cut in, cut loose. So I don't think that system, if he's getting used to it for Blake Corum, is going to impact him. Could be from the Don, who's never had the greatest vision and really has never been good at like a goal line thing. So if they give the ball to the Don on 2nd and 3, 3rd and 2, something like that, rarely does he hit pay dirt without slamming into the back of one of his offensive linemen and getting stopped. Usually his big runs come on 1st and 10 or 2nd and 7 when you're not expecting it. Got a little more wiggle room to make some things happen. Logan Zirkle says, is Sharon Moore still calling plays on Saturday, or is it Kirk Campbell? It was Sharon this past Saturday. It'll continue to be Sharon going forward. Now, Sharon is head coach. So as of now, we were told a couple weeks ago that Sharon is back to the play caller. He's going to be that for a second. But given he's being head coach, it could be something that they're just keeping under wraps and they announce on Friday or maybe just before the game we get with like a media release that Kirk Campbell is the offensive coordinator. It would make sense if Campbell was calling the plays so Sharon Moore could focus on being offensive coordinator. I'm not sure if it matters because I think things will still go. If Kirk makes the first call, it's going to go through Sharon Moore, and he probably has veto power or can recommend things. But those two will be in on him along with Mike Hart. But as far as I know right now, Sharon Moore is intended to be the offensive coordinator to keep that continuity, even though he is also going to be the head coach on Saturday. Jim Harbaugh's 3rd game suspended before he returns next week for Rutgers. Cason Scott, my guy, says, why isn't anyone else besides Roman Wilson looking to score? You don't score until you score. Until you score. Name that movie, Jack. Name that movie. American Pie, our movie guru. Yeah, it's a good. Donovan Edwards hasn't really looked to score. Is Michigan looking for anyone else to score? All the passes in the red zone have gone to Roman Wilson. The best route of the season so far has gone to Roman Wilson. Now that's from J.J. McCarthy. If I were to take everything we know and package it up and sell it to you right now, I would say this. Roman Wilson is the guy that J.J. McCarthy has spent the most time with in the offseason the last 2 years, building that rapport, building that passing attack, better friends both on the field and off the field. It was kind of Andrew Anthony when they were freshmen. Anthony now at Oklahoma, having a pretty good season so far. But last year and this year, it's really been Roman Wilson after their first, coming out of the freshman year, summer, spring, into last year after they were both starters last year. And I think his comfortability, his familiarity with Roman Wilson, he gets start scrambling around, right? 2 of Wilson's first 4 touchdowns on the year were not designed, passing routes. It was J.J. McCarthy scrambling, hitting Wilson. I think those 2 in particular can be attributed specifically to the chemistry those guys have built. And it's like, oh, I'm running around. Where's my guy? There he is. We practiced all summer. I think that's basically what it is so far for this team. Bill Graves says, with Orji's athleticism, would you like to see him as a wide receiver? I don't know what he has as wide receiver. Before wide receiver, though, I think we probably could start with what was rumored that he was doing during fall camp is put him back there at kick returner, right? Give him the ball in his hands at the 6-yard line, catching it, 10 blockers in front of him, 11 guys crashing down on him. Can he make any separation? If he can, then I think you got to find ways to get him the ball outside of just 2-3 snaps a game here and there like he has in the past. He's such a big guy, right? He's huge. Could he become a Tim Tebow kind of guy? Could he be an H-back? Could he be somebody that might be better at the goal line than Kalel Mullings would be when Blake Corum has been out from time to time? Certainly better than the Don, but start him at kick returner if that's where he's been practicing in fall camp. We haven't seen it yet. If he makes some plays there, get him the ball in either in the backfield with J.J. McCarthy from time to time or direct snaps to him, see if he can pull a little Tebow and just crash on the line, get 3, 4, 5, 6 yards, and Michigan absolutely needs it. One more ask, remind you guys of the request at the beginning of the show. Spread the word in the show. We're going to feature people on Saturday during our live show. Jack and I will also follow you on Twitter if we don't yet. Take a screenshot or take a picture of your computer, take a picture of your TV, wherever you're watching. Tweet it out. Tag me at James Yoder. Tell people you're watching the Michigan Football Report. We're going to feature our kind of featured audience on Saturday in our pregame before Michigan Bowling Green. We're going to be live at 7 o'clock Eastern. The game is on Big Ten, 30 minutes prior to the game. Michigan Football Report. We'll be live. Camera on us during the entire show. We'll do some fun things. We'll do some giveaways and then do our immediate post-game show Saturday night, 7 o'clock. Make sure you guys join us then.